saying which said, only with a good character. So when I am with my agricultural people, I am the agricultural labor. Any nation, any country, for any nation, humanistic capital and investment in humanistic capital. As of now, we are end to end. I think a more credible aspect to bring all these things together under one umbrella would be a university.
Namaskar, hello and welcome to yet another special and exclusive episode of IndiGlobal EduTalks. IndiGlobal EduTalks brings to you deep insights, innovation and best practices in the space of education and skill. And today we are joined by young educational leader in India, and she is also a social-preneur. She dons several hats. We'll know more in our candid conversation in IndiGlobal EduTalks.
It's an honor, it's a privilege to be on this platform speaking with you, Sudheer ji, because I've seen you, doing phenomenal work in the space of journalism, phenomenal work in the space of education now, and I'm very happy that you started this initiative, these round of talks, and I'm really honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You don several hats, Dr. Rupa. First, we would like to know about your childhood, where you were born and brought up, and at the same time about your education.
Well, I'm born to a very conservative Tamil Iyer family, but when I'm conservative in terms of they are extremely strict about education, and that I've never seen a boy is treated different from a girl, because we grew up more like boys than girls. So we are given complete independence, but all the same being grounded with our tradition, with our culture, understanding the Vedas, understanding our culture, our Hindu culture. And yes, it was a very beautiful balance those days. We had a community living that I would call, early morning the grandpas and grandmas used to get up. They used to make us chant different mantras, and then the day would start, we go out to play, and then we used to have a very beautiful neighborhood where there would be a lot of exchange. And as a child, they used to appreciate when we used to sing, bhajans, when we used to know the meanings of Vedic scriptures, and we were encouraged to delve into it more and more, which I see now a little absent, and I feel bad about that for my daughter. But yes, that was my childhood. I grew up in a very, very open, independent environment, almost like boys, and had a great childhood. My education revolved around doing my bachelor's, master's and PhD in management in Mumbai itself. And I moved to Bangalore to set up something unique and phenomenal in the year 2008. So I think this is just a nutshell about me.
Thank you for sharing that journey of yours from various parts of India. You already traveled and lived there. You, one of the key roles that you play now is with Best Innovation University as an educationist, as a chancellor. You are also a co-founder. We would like to know what was it's been a few years now since it was established. What was the vision and mission of Best Innovation University with which it started off?
Well, I would like to also mention here my co-founder, Shri Bharatlal Meena ji, retired Additional Chief Secretary of Higher Education. The both of us came together in the year 2016. We thought, there's a huge disconnect. Although I've been an academician all my life, there's a huge disconnect that we saw between what was taught in the classrooms and what exactly was the real life for a student beyond the classroom, in the industry, his life skills, his life. And we wanted to bridge that particular gap, because of which we knew that, one very important aspect that comes in is your origin. Now, if I'm immensely proud of where I come from, if I'm immensely proud of my country, my culture, I would excel in whatever I do in this nation. This is a said thing. And we thought we would start something called as the International Academy for India Studies, to promote India studies amongst different universities and institutions. Then that led to the other, and one led to the other, and we said, I think a more credible aspect to bring all these things together under one umbrella would be a university. So we approached a very progressive government, the Andhra Pradesh government. We submitted our DPR for an innovation university because we believe that the three aspects that are needed for any setup is A, for a child to know, B, to value, and C, to act. Now, if these three things, any educationist, if they are able to put together, I think you've made a great, citizen for this country who will not only add, to the social and economic value of our nation, but also make a huge, meaningful change to the communities around them. So this was the basis and philosophy with which we started. We wanted to become one of the largest socio-conglomerate, where innovators are groomed and where ideas are incubated. And this is how we started the Innovation University in the year 2018. It's been a 4 years of marvelous journey, and we are growing heaps and bounds, and we hope to make a mark globally one day as one of the most engaging setups that concentrates on overall well-being of a student such that he contributes to the value of this nation. This is what we want to be known as.
Amazing. In the name itself, it is mentioned Innovation University. We would like to know how Best Innovation University is have created and is creating that innovative ecosystem within the campus or beyond that of Best Innovation University.
Yeah. So the Bharatiya Engineering, Science and Technology Innovation University is just 1 hour 45 minutes from Bangalore International Airport. We are a state private university of Andhra Pradesh based out of the Satya Sai district in Anantapur. And we are doing a lot of work amongst the agriculture, horticulture, forestry, and the computer science streams. Computer science specifically to do with artificial intelligence and data science. So as a university, I believe that what is 21st century skill sets, Gautamji? It's basically one which is very importantly your knowledge.
Yeah.
What am I giving to a student in terms of his core curricular knowledge? And where I bring in a very beautiful seamless integration of other disciplines. Yeah. Which can help him grow his academic boundaries, his knowledge levels. This is my first aspect. The second aspect is the humanistic knowledge. Now, what's a humanistic knowledge? It is to value, it is to give back to the community. It is the social responsibility that a student would share with which, we impart him the knowledge and skill sets. How does he use that for the benefit of others? This is the second aspect. The third and the most important aspect is the meta-knowledge. Meta-knowledge is the new type of knowledge which is primarily to do with collaboration, which is primarily to do with design thinking, creative thinking. So as a university, we want to bring in these 21st century skill sets with the student. All the same, by telling the student that the gig economy is taking over. To be very frank with you, I'm going to make this very, very, very conflictory statement as an educationist. A degree from a top-class university will be of a limited practical use in future if the student is not willing to work for anyone, anywhere, anytime. Now, how does this willingness develop? This willingness develops with engineering the student's mind and not concretizing him with a bird's eye view of a single subject. It comes with giving him a world view of what awaits you after your graduation. And for him to, break all the boundaries of a curricular structure, to bring him into a state where he says, yes, I am here, I am one of the workforces of this nation, the youngest nation of the world, and I am here to contribute not only to this nation, but to the global workforce. That's the kind of mindset that we're trying to build in at Best Innovation University.
Amazing. So, Best Innovation University is producing leaders, not just for India, for the world. In this fast evolving industrialization and also technology, where every other day the new technology is coming out, we wanted to know how is Best Innovation University is providing that hands-on training to its students and the kind of collaboration it's doing with the industry.
Yeah, I'm very happy you asked me this question because lately I've been attending several conferences which are speaking about industry collaboration and exchange. And I believe these are very, very three important aspects. We started our university with 18 collaborations with top universities. As we speak, there is a summer program that my students are going to engage in with the Ben Gurion University Sde of Israel. Israel happens to be number one in agriculture. With zero rainfall, with high salinity levels, the kind of vegetables and fruits they produce for the world and export is remarkable. I've been there, seen it and done that, and therefore I brought that out to the university here in Best Innovation, because what is their expertise? I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I need to just bring in such expertises to India. So sharing best practices, sharing dialogues, ideas, exchange is the future of education. Gone are the days when we were in frogs in a well and say, no, this is the only curriculum we teach, these are the only statutory bodies we follow, this is only what you will learn. No, now we have come out of these boundaries through the national education policy also, and we are very importantly, reaching out to people for their best practices, bringing in those best practices to our institutions, be it industry, be it progressive farmers in agriculture. There are several progressive farmers who can't read or write, but they are making a remarkable change in the community by sharing their knowledge and skill sets. That is what we want to for our students. Then experiential learning. Experiential learning becomes an important aspect. Classroom teaching is passé now. We all know we've transitioned from Corona. There is no way a university can still say teacher-centric learning. It is all about student-centric learning, world over. So we've moved from a teacher-centric to student-centric now, and where we're trying to bring in industry, we're bringing best practices from different institutions, research organizations, worldwide universities to our university to ensure that the student has a world view beyond the boundaries of his subject that he is learning. So we have something called as an experiential learning program where our students were staying in a village in their last semester for 14 weeks. Amazing. With the farmers, understanding their issues, understanding what could be the possible solutions, and at the end they brought out a report. We gave it to the local panchayat, we gave it to the state, and we are now working with the state government. We have a meeting also on Tuesday where we are working for 1,000 acres of land where our students will develop everything for the farmers, a technology knowledge transfer kind of program. So governments have to come together, industry has to come together, best practices from research institutions around the world have to come together, progressive people have to come together. I think when all these stakeholders are together, it cannot stifle the growth of our nation. There's only progress for future.
Amazing. We're glad to know that especially your students spend close to few weeks with the farmers, so they turn out to be not just experts in agriculture farming, but also agripreneurs in the coming soon after they pass out. And we would like to know, teachers and the teaching faculty also play a very important role. Besides catching up with the latest technologies and all for the students in regards to the syllabus, it is also very essential for the teaching faculty. And in these times, how are you keeping your teaching staff updated, and how are they catching up with the fast evolving market and economy?
Once you are a teacher, once you are an academician, it's a lifelong learning, Sudheer ji, because there's no way you can say I know all. I have been into education for as long as 24 years now, and I know for a fact I've met students from school, from colleges, from universities, research fellows, even students with special needs. And I can say one thing for a fact, that one size doesn't fit all. Now, with the national education policy in 4A, teachers have a huge ground for exploring. They can use, and I would say that our universities are uniquely positioned now across the globe, especially in India. We have such fantastic universities, including ours. We are all uniquely positioned to provide, to integrate this traditional expertise that we already have with digital interventions to ensure that we create impactful learner experiences aligned to the future of work, which is extremely crucial.
Yeah.
So this futuristic view is extremely important, and we ensure that our faculties are abreast and understand the latest technological developments and ensure that they use it while they are training our students. So the learning outcomes are far more impactful than the general teacher-student learning, the blackboard kind of an setup. So yes, I think we are uniquely positioned to bring in these two together, and we can create very impactful learner experiences, and which is what we strive to do at Best Innovation University.
Amazing. Talking about the technology, where does Best Innovation University stand in embracing the technology, digital technology?
As of now, we are end-to-end automated, and this I will not say now. It was even before Corona happened. It was just that because of COVID-19, we transitioned from whatever we were trying to do. I mean, I would say this for most private universities in India. We were toying around flipped classrooms. We were toying around, the blackboard which was there available online. We used to take online classes. We used to dump most of our materials there. But there's one very significant thing that was happening back then, which has stopped now. LMS, the learning management systems, which was there in 10 years ago or 5-7 years ago, mostly what I saw teachers were doing in different universities was only dump all the classroom papers, turn them into PDF into presentations, and dump them to students. Now, this is not digital innovation. Digital innovation, or if I may use this word, pedagogy, is not a very easy thing to do. Pedagogical innovations, pedagogical perspectives has to be seen very critically. And for that matter, not all teachers are pedagogues. This also we need to understand, because pedagogies are almost instantaneous. They happen at that very moment, and they are investigative in nature. It does not happen with a preset notion that this is what I'm going to teach and this is what happens, this is what I'm going to dump on my students and this is what they will learn. No, it is very instantaneous. So looking at digital innovations and digital interventions with a critical pedagogical perspective is the need of the day, and we keep reiterating this to our faculties, and they ensure that they keep doing this investigative learning aspect with our students for most of their classes. So that's how we keep abreast. But as I said, it's lifelong learning. It's very dynamic. Technology, the education today is extremely dynamic, and I'm very happy I belong to this era, because world is your playground. You can just about do whatever you want to do. So it's in the leadership, it's in the management, it's in the hands of faculties to make these learner experiences profound for the student.
Amazing. We are glad that Best Innovation University is progressing towards in that direction. We would like to know what is the current presence of Best Innovation University in terms of its campuses, and what is the student and teaching faculty strength, and in the coming years what is the vision that is set for Best IU?
Every day before I close my eyes at night, I say this to myself. Every morning when I open my eyes, I say this to myself, that it's not about producing numbers, it's not about churning out students, it's about creating real humans for the society. It's about conservation, it's about culture, it's about tradition, it's about being proud of what you do, being proud of what you are. And my challenge is every day as I set foot outside is, what are the ways and means that I bring about this change for people around me, not only my students, anybody and everybody around me. So yes, having said that, Best Innovation University's vision is to have another 3 universities within the state of Andhra Pradesh and the South region in the next 5 years. We have our junior colleges also, where we teach 11th and 12th in Anantapur district in Andhra Pradesh. So we probably have an expansion plan there as well. And we are relatively new. We are about 4 years old. So in our 4th year, we are about 1,600 students strong. And in the next 5 years, I see around 6,000 to 8,000 students in the campus. But my flagship programs will still remain agriculture, because that is something that we are an agricultural nation. 72% of our country is farming. Now, unless there was green revolution, there was milk revolution, now is the time for income revolution. Yes, this is the time for income revolution. And there are several opportunities, several digital interventions for our farmers. So they are not marginal anymore. I want to bring it out of that framework of being, agricultural country, but marginal farmers. No, we are very progressive. There are several of industrialists, people from the industry, normal people like us who want to go back, dirty their hands with the soil and go back to their roots. So I think it's all about making that change and making that difference in people's lives. And I just hope beyond the numbers that we hear and beyond anything else, we are able to, as a university, contribute to this nation, this beautiful nation called Bharata. Social, economic value of this nation. Make a meaningful change for the people around us. This is all I reiterate to my students and my people around me. So I think with that vision we move forward and everything else will follow.
Amazing. I see that Best Innovation Universities focuses, besides other streams, a lot of focus is on agriculture. When we talked about that, I have that my journalistic instinct pushes me to ask this question: where does India stand in terms of agriculture, technology in agriculture?
There's a lot that needs to be accomplished, because most of our farmers cannot afford that kind of technological intervention that we call. The world is moving forward, there are several countries that are having tremendous technological intervention with zero labor. But in India, we are still following a lot of traditional mechanisms. One big issue that I see is diversity in the crops. We are also, diversity in nutrition is one aspect. Losing biodiversity, conservation of seeds is another aspect. Third aspect is the crop rotation, how we treat our soil, what we put into our foods. In fact, because I was seeing all this and I was working at the university in agriculture, in the forestry areas, we started a firm called as Evergreen Naturals, which technically promotes the farm to fork concept and farm to table concept, whereby we make certain knowledge interventions with the farmers around us. We have women FPOs, we have other FPOs that we've started around the radius of our university, because you cannot spread so much. Even if I can do something significant 50 kilometers around the district that our university is set in. So I think that will be a huge change that we can bring about. So we make technological interventions, we make knowledge interventions, we explain the farmers that they do not need to use these kind of chemicals. The products could be grown in a separate way with higher produce. We provide them with indigenous seeds. We have a mother nursery at the university. We have a cow animal husbandry in the university. So we give a lot of technological and technical inputs to the farmers around us, and we ensure that we also give them knowledge of market intelligence, because I think now it's not about how to grow. That remains a significant aspect of how to grow, because natural farming is the way forward, but it's also about market intelligence. It's also about knowing what could give you a better produce, what could give you better money in your pockets. So this is what we as a university, our departments do. And other than agriculture, also we have computer science, we have artificial intelligence, we have data science. We try to collaborate all these streams together to ensure that we bring in some technological intervention for the cheaper ones, which can be used, which can be purchased by the farmers, which they can use in their farms, that can make a difference to them in terms of their productivity, in terms of the quality of the food that they grow, and in terms of also sales. So like apps, this is the requirement at this place. These are because we have tie-ups with industries. We have tie-ups with farmers. So we become the middle channel for them, completely free of cost, that enables to bridge this gap between the both with an app, a very simple app, which they use, which they say, today I have X amount tons of tomatoes, X tons of this, and I would like to sell it. Okay, we bridge the gap, we bring in the people together. So I think we're doing a lot of interventions there, and we're trying to do our best by showing by example. We grow in our farms, we sell it to the industry, and we ensure that the farmers learn out of this whole supply chain that we've tried to bring in. So yes, we're doing a lot of work around that area.
Amazing. I'm glad to know that not just producing but also getting the right price for the produce is very important, and Best IU is focusing on the marketing aspects of the agricultural produce as well. Amazing. So before we come to the end of our IndiGlobal EduTalks, we would like to know your take on NEP, National Education Policy 2020.
The national education policy, before I tell about national education policy, I think any nation, any country, for any nation, the humanistic capital and investment in humanistic capital is imperative, not only for sustainable development but also for cultural reconnection. The national education policy has come at the right time, when we are bringing the technological interventions, the cultural connection, everything put together in a robust policy. It speaks about right from the child of school, and which it rightly identifies as the failing standards of our education in the country has to be contributed to school education. So it rightly targets school education. Then it targets the teacher education, which is again very, very significant for a student to learn and understand. So this is the second. The third intervention that it makes is in higher education, where it brings in all the stakeholders together. Then there are some very, very revolutionary aspects like the academic bank of credits, where entry and exit points for a student becomes extremely easy, which was not the case earlier. So I would like to, in a nutshell, call it a revolutionary policy which has come to change the lives of students, not only the students but also education. We are a country with 1,000 universities. We have more than 650,000 colleges. We have more than 365 million children in school. We churn out 8 million graduates every year, which is by far the largest university systems in the world. Even ahead of China, ahead of Japan, ahead of any nation you take. We are also supposedly the youngest nation of the world, our average age being 28. So we are looking at a huge demographic dividend here, a huge youth dividend here. Now, unless we channelize this youth dividend into the right direction through education, through several interventions, as enablers, as educators, we have a huge responsibility on us to channelize this. And I think that is exactly what we need to do, and as per national education policy also, we need to bring in a holistic approach to education, making an all-round personality. Indic knowledge systems and India knowledge systems is one of the very important aspects in every program there. So that brings them, to the fact that I always speak about pride. Yeah. That I'm proud of what I am and where I belong to. So I think all the aspects have been covered in national education policy. Implementation may be phase-wise and may be a challenge in a lot of aspects, but I think when stakeholders come together, it is definitely possible.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rupa, for sharing this phase of your journey as an educationist. Thank you very much, Dr. Rupa, for that message and for joining us. So that was Dr. Rupa, who is not just educationist but also a socialpreneur, and you have all heard the kind of role and hat that she dons. So till the time we come back and join with you with yet another inspiring personality with their inspiring story. This is Sudheer Goutham from the IndiGlobal Media Network signing off. Thank you.